might be working towards certification. Some of you are already certified and would like to see the developments from PMI. So you may be watching what's new in it. So this is for everyone. Okay, so that's how we have put it in. And whenever you have any nagging questions, you can ask immediately. You can either you can put your question on the chat mode. Ratna will handle the question with the faculty, or you can directly speak, or you can wait until that person completes and then we can handle it. Because don't hesitate to stop. We have, though the contents are long, we structured it only for around 75 to 90 minutes, leaving around 30 minutes for a good Q&A. So you can ask, what you ask may be useful to many of them. So with this introductory remarks, I will now ask Prashant to begin with what's new in the application format. Over to you, Prashant.
All right, thank you, sir. Good evening, all. So I'll just share my screen. Yeah. So PMI has changed the PMP application format completely. So they have very much simplified it, and with very less details, we'll be able to apply for PMP certification now. So as you see on my screen right now, so the old application sections versus the new application sections. So there are multiple sections like general details where they take our name and the other communication address, office address as well as home address in the first section in the old application part. And then they'll take our education details, the highest degree, along with the name of the university, starting from which year, ending during which period we completed the education. So those details will be captured. And the project experience. So this is a place where major changes and have happened, as well as the impact will be high on us. So earlier, the project experience used to be very elaborate, and we need to fill up a lot of details like the project start date, finish date, the role in what we have played in that particular project, the industry to which the project belongs to, what is our job title, organization name, organization address, organization phone number, email ID, generic email ID, and the contact person for that project. So any legitimate person who is actually having knowledge on what project it is and what have been worked on, what our work has been on the project is used to be captured. And the same thing should be ensured that if at all our application is picked up for audit, we will have to get the signature of that particular person on the audit material and send the audit material as hard copies to PMI. So that is the original process where we used to submit applications for PMP. And coming to the project description, they used to be specific about the description should cover the objective of the project and our role and the deliverables that we have created as a part of each and every domain in the project: initiation, planning, execution, control, and closure. So that description should be in sync with the number of hours that we mentioned per each domain that we have spent. So that is something which used to be a strenuous exercise, and it used to go through a lot of reviews from us as well. And now in the new application, there is a slightly different approach that we follow to this, which we'll take it up as a part of discussion. So project management education details. This is the 35 contact hours course what you have attended with any of the REPs or of any other organizations. So those details, the course title, the course start date, and the course finish date are some things which we need to mention those in the application form. And finally, towards end of the application, the last section, there used to be examination details where the name on the identification exactly we need to give provide, as well as if the name is not the same as on identification, we can have a different name for the certificate to be printed on the certificate. So with these sections, we used to complete PMP applications and submit it to PMI. So now all this information, what they used to collect for PMP applications, they have merged it and they have combined it into 3 sections. So one is the education, experience, and details, as you can see on the screen. So education covers both our academic education, where the highest degree needs to be mentioned, as well as the professional education, about the 35 contact hours, what we have mentioned. And then coming to the project experience, so this is one place where a lot of work has been done to crisp the entire information into one single page per project. So there is no need for us to mention how many hours we have spent in each domain. So that is the one biggest thing which they have removed it. And the second thing is that there's a lot of relaxation in terms of the project description. So the project description earlier used to be, should be less than 550 characters, including spaces, whereas now they have brought it to minimum 100 words. And there is actually speaking, there's no upper limit. So typically a project description should contain somewhere about 200 to 300 words is what PMI expects. And along with it, the project details, which we need to, which we used to enter in different sections earlier, now they have brought them into mostly a drop-down menu system. So where most of these fields there present here will be picked up from a drop-down, you have to pick up the right option for your project falls in which category, and then we can simply move forward. So once that is completed, the exam details, the simple one communication address, the name on identifications, name on the certificate, email address, and contact number. So these are the simple exam details that they're captured. So I would like to quickly show you how the PMP application looks on the PMI site. So this is the first section, the overview of the application, which stage we are in. So the education, experience, and exam details. So 3 sections as we discussed earlier. So under the education section, they have grouped both the academic education as well as professional education. So if you can see on my screen, the academic education speaks about the highest level, the degree that we have achieved, and years attended from and to, and country of the institution. There are no more details about the name of the university, the place of the university, address of the university. So these details are completely removed from the new application. So professional education, this is about the 35 contact hours program, what you complete with REPs. So the title of the course, who's the provider, was REP name, and the course dates and number of hours that qualify for PMP certification. So if at all, if you have not undergone a dedicated PMP preparation workshop from any of the REPs, and if you are submitting your education details from either your post-graduation or any other university programs, so how many hours will they qualify for PMP, we'll have to mention it. So the 35 contact hours that are required to go and apply for the exam remains the same. And if you have to submit this 35 hours from multiple sources, you can also do that. So if the qualifying hours are less than 35, it will give you an option to add one more course in terms of professional education. So once we fill these details and save the education and move to the next page, so this is a place where we will have to give the project experience. As I said, the entire information of the project has been very neatly organized and has been brought into more of a drop-down system. So the project title, the name of the project, the organization for which we perform this project, the organization in which we are working while doing this project. So it is not the customer's organization, it is our organization which we are working on. and then the job title. So what is the role or job title that we hold when we are doing this project? So these are the two areas which they have brought in, the functional reporting area. So you have multiple options as a part of this functional reporting area drop-down, which you can pick up from that. And organization's primary focus, so your organization's industry. So that also will have a drop-down from where you can pick up. So if you see a new a tab that can be seen here, the approach or methodology. So is this project being performed using a predictive life approach, predictive life cycle, or agile approach and agile project, or a hybrid model which contains both? So there are three options there from which we can pick up one. And then the team size, how team members have been working on your project. So that can be picked up. So they have multiple options given. And also they ask for the project budget in terms of USD. So what is the range of the project in terms of budget? So the start date and end date, using which the system, the application will automatically calculate the total number of hours. And as and when we go and add the projects, you can see the total number of hours getting updated over here. So it says, let's say 24 months out of 36 have been accomplished. So we need to add 12 more months, for which we can add one more project. So they can add, similarly, we can add multiple projects and we can take it forward. So the next part, after we fill in this basic details about the project, we need to go and write the description. So earlier, the number of hours spent in each domain is completely removed now, and they directly move into the description. And this description is something which needs the attention and needs a systematic approach to write the description. So PSR later in the seminar, in this webinar, PSR will take us through how to write the description. So for now, the basic details that they ask is the objective of the project and your role and deliverables that you have created. So this information should at least come for 100 words, and preferably a typical response is between anywhere about 200 to 500 words. So the character based restriction is not present anymore. It's only about the words that they are measured. So once we mention the project description, then we move forward. And the last section, as we discussed, is the exam details. So this exam details contains your home address, the communication address, and name on the identification, name on the certificate, your email address, which can be changed if you want to change it anywhere. So all these fields are editable and you can change it. The phone number also is mandatory here to be provided.
Okay. Prashant, I just pause for a moment.
Yes.
I think there are a few questions here.
Yeah.
Can you go to the previous slide? Yeah, and the previous slide. Okay. Yeah, I'm seeing a question here from Pragya. Okay, I'm not understanding. So, ma'am, can you explain any specific area? See, what Prashant was telling here is most of the details are dropped down. You need to just pick up except the project title, organization, and job title. And secondly, in the next slide, yeah, I'll handle that Vijaya's question separately. The next page is earlier, the experience description to be contained within 550 characters. Now they have removed it. They made it as a 500 words. Okay, minimum should be 100 words. Maximum should be 500 words. So you have the freedom to express your role description, deliverables, what you have done, and in each domain, how did you do all of them. Okay, they have expanded the limit to 500 words. Okay, and yeah, so in a way, it is very simple to fill it, but it also need to be handled a little more carefully, which I'll explain it later. Okay, so if you can specify where you don't understand, I can further elaborate it.
No, I just only did not understand like what is the main agenda of this. The
Okay.
changes are there, but I do understand the changes are there, but the thing is that I was not able to relate with the agenda, and that is the reason I said I'm not understanding.
Okay, okay, okay. Yeah, so, okay, if you have seen that agenda page, the first item in the agenda is what changes are there between the old application form and the new application form, how we should go about adapting to the new application form. Okay, so that is the item Prashant is explaining. And then the third is how to write that 100 to 500 word summary. Okay, because many of them are struggling to submit the application form. So
Okay.
that is what we are explaining. And the
Okay.
second part on the agenda is the content outline change. Okay, beyond December 2020, the whole exam pattern is changing. So which we are going to explain what's going to be the new. And the third, the training itself is going through a change, okay, beyond for the new content outline. So what is the change in the PMP prep training? So that is the third major item. And
Okay.
the fourth major item is what you can expect from Provinces in terms of adapting to these new changes. Okay, how we can help you. So that is the
Mhm.
last item. Is that okay now?
Yeah, now I got it. Thank you so
Uh,
much.
uh, all right, all right. Okay, the next question here is all my experience in Lean Six Sigma methodology. In that case, what type of methodology I have to choose as per PMP? It's a very good question. You can choose even Agile because Lean Six Sigma is more of picking up a specific business process, improve it and see the value, and then based on the experience, you pick up the next business process. Usually, Six Sigma projects are happen in a iterative manner. So you can choose the agile approach. Okay, in fact, that is good. Sometimes people may think that I don't have agile experience. So those kind of doubts may come. According to me, every Six Sigma project is an agile project. Is that okay? That clarifies your doubt? I don't know who asked the
Yeah,
question.
yeah,
Yes,
great.
Vijay. Yes, Vijay.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
great,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Okay, Prashant, you can continue.
Sir, one person have raised his hand.
Ah,
So I don't know. The name says one hyphen pix. Sir, if you can identify yourself or you can unmute and speak. Yeah.
Good evening, sir. I am Ranjit here.
yes, Ranjit. Ranjit from Hindalco.
Yeah, sir. Hindalco.
Okay, please go ahead.
Sir, is there any changes if someone wants to write the exam in next 1-2 months? So, how to write in this Corona scenario? They can write from their home or they have to go to the center.
Yes, already PMI announced that the home proctored exams are available. So you can write the exam from your home. Okay, Prashant will later cover that also as part of the new exam pattern. Yes,
Okay, thank you, sir.
all right. Okay, Prashant, continue.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So we'll move into the application checklist. So what are all the things that we need to get it ready before we go and submit application for PMP? So the projects that we want to submit in the application should always represent the professional work. So this should not include tour planning, your personal wedding, any academic research projects that you have done. So they have very specifically mentioned these points, saying that only the projects that you have professionally worked through an organization to a customer should be mentioned. So that is the first thing that you can see as a part of the checklist. And all the projects should be listed individually. So you cannot combine multiple projects together and give it as a one project. So multiple projects should not be one entry. Okay. So I have included the true title of the project and the description and not my role on the project. in the title field. Yeah. So what about the project? So now the question comes: what do we do if we are working on a sensitive data related projects, any defense kind of projects or any IP protected projects? So in that case, we can only mention hide the IP related information and mention what the project is about. So if you are working on, for example, let's say any simulator for defense, so you need not mention what simulator is it and details of that simulator, but you can just say that providing a kind of simulator for defense of so and so country. All right, so I'll move forward to the next part. So each of the descriptions and the high-level summaries that we have submitted is the tasks inside the description should be either you have directed or led. So that is what the PMI expects as part of eligibility criteria for PMP as well. You should be either leading a task or directing the project as part of PMP application for 3 years as a part of eligibility. So you can see here 1 or 2 sentences about the project objective, and then the summary of deliverables and your responsibilities. What is the work that we have done, and the deliverables that you have created as a part of the project should be defined. So the project should not include the routine operational or administrative tasks. So that is the another thing that PMI expects us to when we are submitting the furnishing the project details. All right, so the number of hours of experience included in each domain are reasonably based on time frame. So this hours now we are not explicitly mentioning in the PMP application. So this need not be considered for the current new application format. So this checklist will be updated by PMI shortly. Okay, so the next point also is related to the number of hours in each domain of the process. Each domain or the process area for the project. So this part also we will not be mentioning in the new application. So this application process, what we need to submit to PMI. So many of us will have kind of lot of questions and doubts regarding that. And if at all, if our summary is not meeting the expectations of PMI, so they'll send us back an email asking us to clarify certain things. So in order to avoid all this the cycle of communications between PMI and us for the application process, what the Provinces did is we have created a sample application template. So this template will be given to you in the form of a link during the workshop, and you can go and start filling your application details in this link. So for example, I will quickly show you how this template works. So I'll go and give my name and email address and my phone number over here, and then I'll move next. So this is a place where I need to go and fill my academic education details and the professional education. So I'll go and select what is your highest level of education, and then the year in which you started taking up the professional, the postgraduate degree, whatever the highest degree that you have mentioned. And from there to, I'm just randomly selecting the dates, and the data wise, we are not going for the authenticity. So what is the country of institution? Then the name of the institution. So which university that you have obtained this degree from. And you can pick up from the field of study, which what is your highest degree, so you can pick up from this field of study. And then when we move forward, the next task for professional education. So if you have taken the course from Provinces, the Provinces course title will be readily available for you to pick up from the drop down. Then the provider name, so that is also available. So course start dates. So when did we start the course? So I would say 3rd of July to 1st of August. And qualifying hours 35. So if you have taken with us, so this straight out available. If it is not, then you have to go and fill up by selecting the other from the box. So once I click next, this is a place where I need to give my project details, the projects on which I have worked on. So I'll go and give some random information about my projects. So I'll fill some things. So for job title, the organization for which we have worked on, the functional reporting area, which the project belongs to which particular function. So I'd say IT, and our organization is primarily focusing on which vertical, which industry. And as we discussed, the approach and methodology, the traditional approach, which is a predictive or waterfall model, or agile or a hybrid approach. So I'll choose agile for now. And then they'll ask for the team size. So let's say 10 to 14 is my team size, and budget also they'll give us the range from which you can pick up. So 5 to 10 million will pick up. So when is the project start date? In the application, we can only pick up the month. There's no need to give the date for it. So I'll go and say 28th August 2018 to, let's say, 2020 July 31st. So I given 2 years as project description. So this description part, how to write it, what to write it, anyway PSN is going to take us through. So sample summary, I'll just fill it. And now if your project is 36 months or more, so then the last question is this: is this project duration more than 36 months or more? So if you say it is more than 36 months, that itself meets the eligibility criteria for PMP exam. So we don't need to add one more project. So that alone is sufficient. So you can go and say, this is more than 36 months. So I'll go and say next. So when I go and click on next, that form will automatically take us through the exam details, where we'll have to give the address for communication, name on the identification, name on the certificate, mobile number and phone number, email ID. Anyway, we have not brought him into it, but in the PMP application, you have to fill those things as well. And then submit it. And this form will be submitted to Provinces for us to review your application and your data. So once we complete the review, we will send you back an intimation in the form of a Word document with all the information that you have captured or what you have submitted in the online application. So this information can be copied and pasted into pmi.org. You can go and start application for PMP in pmi.org website, and you can just copy paste this information into the PMP application, main application. So if at all, if you have to add additional projects, for example, if your current project, what you have mentioned, did not meet the 36 months. So then what we will do is we'll have to go and say, no, add one more project. So when you go and say add one more project and say next, then it will take us to the place where you can add second project. So second project also, the same details needs to be given, and the description for the second project also needs to be mentioned. And the last, we'll have a question. With these two projects together, cumulatively, is your project overall experience duration going more than 36 months or more? So yes, then it will take to exam details. If it is no, then you'll have to go back and add one more project. Okay, so this is how our Provinces application will work. And we will share the link as a part of a workshop, how to access this form and submit your project details for us to review. Okay, now let us go and see how to write the project description. So I would request PSR to take over and take us through the project description summary.
Okay, thank you, Prashant. As I share the screen, any of you have any questions to Prashant or me? So you can ask. Any questions about the application basic details?
So Abhishek speaking, sir.
Yes, Abhishek. Yeah.
So just wanted to know, we also have that random audit which is being picked up when we submit the application, that is still intact or that has been taken out?
See, I think it will continue to be there, but we don't know how they are going to administer that audit. So PMI is not very clear on how the audit. Earlier, we need to send the physical evidence in terms of the certificate copies, and the person whom we put reference, he need to sign and then paste it on the seal, he need to sign. Now all those difficulties are gone. So we need
So
to just
temporarily, because of COVID, this thing PMI has intimated earlier during the early days of pandemic that they are putting this audit process on hold temporarily. So once they again resume, we, as PSA was saying, we really don't have more clarity on that. So once we come to know, we will put it across.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
correct. Okay, as a worst case, what they may ask is, because anyway, going forward, only ATPs can provide training. So that the training part of the evidence is already built into the system. So your graduate or postgraduate education and also experience also, I guess there is no third party authorization is required. So they may even remove it, auditing part once for all. Even otherwise, it may be a very kind of a lightweight auditing process might be put in place. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
All right. Okay. So if there are no other questions, I'll continue. Earlier, compressing your experience summary into 550 character was an art. Okay, it was very difficult. We have to do a lot of assistance to candidates, because they simply write about the project itself, it will come 550 characters. So then the question of what I have done, okay, my delivery, then it goes to invariably more than 1,000 characters, and we need to do a lot of optimization to bring it. So that was the challenge before. Okay, now the challenge, what I am expecting is, how to write this big essay of 100 to 500 words. Okay, when I say 100 to 500 words, it will be roughly around 1.5 pages it will come. Okay, anywhere between. So that also need to be written little professionally, because that's the only area PMI can evaluate objectively whether you have been performed the role what you claim to perform. Okay, so this was a practice in program management and portfolio management. So professionals used to struggle a lot to write essay, because there they have to write 5 essays. So now for PMP applicants, they have to write 1 essay. So I thought I'll give some high level guidelines, okay, how you should go about and writing the essay. So this is the, I guess you all see my screen. So what Prashant showed before is again I am showing. The top part is the experience details, that includes what is the project title, from when to when, and then what is the team size, what is the methodology. So all of them you can just fill it in a couple of minutes. It is not going to take time. The last part is description of your summary. Okay, the experience summary. So here it says, they say provide a high level description that summarizes your experience, that includes project objective, outcome, your role in the project, your responsibilities and deliverables. A typical response is between 200 to 500 words. My first cut advice to all of you is, take this as a checklist. Okay, do you have an objective for the project? What was the outcome of the project? What was your role? And then what were your roles and responsibilities and deliverables? Now, when it comes to the last part, roles and responsibilities and deliverables, you need to tie it to each domain. Okay, the initiating, planning, executing, controlling, and closing. So these 5 domains, what were your responsibility and deliverable you have to write. So if I say that I write, say about 1 big sentence for each domain, okay, you will get around 5 small paragraphs for 5 domains. Plus, okay, 1 sentence for the objective, 1 sentence for the outcome. Okay, so you will get something around, let's say, 6 to 8 paragraphs of essay should come. Okay, so that is the expectation. And if any reviewer sees that you systematically written all these items, then there won't be any questions. Okay, so that's the high level guidelines. So that's what I have presented it here. Write the first sentence about the objective, second sentence the outcome. Begin the third sentence with your role and continue with each domain describing the responsibilities and deliverables. Write 3 to 4 lines for each domain. Okay, totally 5 domains, say about 15 sentences. Each sentence, let's say about 8 words. So you will get around 120 to 150 words. Okay, so that will fulfill the minimum requirements. If you are able to write little more, that will add to it. Okay, now how do I go about? So what I have seen is there are many people with even 20 years, 25 years of experience. They struggle a lot to articulate their experience in the form of responsibilities and deliverables. So that's why I thought I'll give a little more expanded guideline. So I'll just explain you how you should write. Okay, and there is a big danger to it. What we have seen is if we give some guideline or rather a sample statement, many of them copy paste that sample statement and then make few kind of changes in terms of role, project title and outcome, and they submit as is. Okay, so that is equal to plagiarism. Okay, please don't do that. Just take it as a high level guideline and then do your own narration. Okay, if you follow the guideline and if you use your own words, your own project language, your organization language, the reviewer will like it. Okay, they don't want any copybook style theoretical explanation. Okay, so how do we go about? So now these days PMI gives a lot of importance to this exam content outline document, ECO document. So I would expect you to take that as a basis to write your summary. So I'll just put it in a show mode so that you can read out. So when it comes to initiating domain, there are about 8 tasks a PM professional is expected to perform. So depending upon the role, suppose if you are a senior project manager or a program manager, or let's say an entrepreneur, you might have done most of these 8 tasks. Suppose if you are a project lead or an SME, okay, so then you would have done a limited number of activities. So just first tick, what are the activities that you have performed in your real-time project? Okay, so look at it. I have just chosen about 5 activities. Identify key deliverables of the project based on the business requirements in order to manage customer expectations. Okay, perform stakeholder analysis. Identify high-level risks, assumptions, and constraints. Participate in the development of project charter. And then finally, communicate to the stakeholders about the approval of the project charter. So these are the activities, either directly or indirectly, you would have been performed it. So pick up these activities and then spin it around your own project. You use the statements I led, okay, yeah, stakeholder analysis with my sponsor and the core team, and then completed the stakeholder register. I did a brainstorming to discuss the high-level risk assumptions and constraints and documented as part of the project charter. And then I presented the charter, okay, let's say to my steering committee or whomsoever you have done it. And then the board formally approved the project. So like that, now you can write those 4 or 5 statements, and as part of initiation, it is done. Now you need to do the same thing for the other 4 domains. Let's say when it comes to planning, okay, there are about 13, 14 activities. Okay, so you pick up again and you see here, I formed a core cross-functional team to develop the project plan. I facilitated the team to develop the work breakdown structure, schedule, resource plan, estimates, and budget. We discussed the plan along with the assumptions and constraints to identify the risk and built a risk plan or risk register. I established the following quality metrics. Feel free to write them. Okay, schedule performance index, cost performance index, stakeholder satisfaction, etc. Okay, so you give the real-time data, okay, what you have done on your project. And then finally, I presented the plan to the HODs and the sponsor and got it approved. And then you can say, I conducted a kickoff meeting like that. Then when it comes to execution, and then identify the task and you write the details. Okay, so the same way monitoring and control. I monitor the project on a weekly basis, discussed with the review meetings. Issues were tracked using an issue log and resolved timely. You can even narrate one of the issue, okay, how you have handled it. Okay, give practical examples. The reviewer will like it very much. I managed changes systematically through a formal approval process. Now here you explain the change control mechanism that is followed in your organization, whether it is which one were self-approved, which one were approved by PM, which one should be taken to the customer. All those things you can explain. People will love to read it because they have given you 500 words. So you can really write your own story beautifully. Okay, and then so like that you do it. And then finally, how you have closed it. So pick up the task and then tailor it to your project and write your experience. Okay, when it comes to closure, okay, I identified departmental coordinators from the operations side and then planned a transition. Okay, the key documents and reports were archived. Some of them could be very conceptual, you would have done in the same way. Some of them could be highly localized, tailored to your organization. Use that. I organized a lessons learned workshop to discuss the whole set of lessons learned across the project. And then you can write your own story. Okay, I called for a meeting, all the PMs. Okay, and then I presented it. All those things you can write it. So then you assemble all of them. So you see here for a sample project what I have written in all the 5 domains plus the objective and the outcome. So it comes to around 400 words what I have written here. Okay, so it gives you a structure. The objective of the project is to implement a central PMO, integrating all strategic and operational initiatives, implementing global best practices and best governance that are expected. These are the expected outcome of the project. Now, initiation. As a project manager, I discussed with the key stakeholder. Simply, I picked up all those 5 paragraphs written and then put it in the summary. So if you write it, then I can tell you there won't be even a clarification expected out of you. They'll straight away approve it. Okay, so this is what you need to do it. So if you are an alumni of Proventures, or even if you are outside also, you can make use of our services. So we have that templated application form. Once you submit it, we will review, give corrections, and that will be given to you in the form of a Word document so that you can copy paste into your online application form. Okay, so that's about how you need to do. Now, all that I discussed is till December, and from January onwards, or when you are going to prepare yourself for the exam as per the new format, then these descriptions will undergo a change, because I'm going to explain it in the next part of my presentation, what is going to be the new content outline document. Accordingly, you need to write the summary. More or less, okay, 60% will remain the same. The other 40% will be more people focused. I will explain you how it will be in the coming slides. So I'm done with this part. From application level, what are the major changes, how you need to respond to it. Are there any questions? Any questions for me? If there are no questions, I will, yeah.
Prasanth and Ranjit here.
Yes, Ranjit.
I have one question that in our projects, I am doing multiple projects at one time.
Yeah.
Like I am a planning head for my project, so I working for the project management and planning work for multiple projects. So how we
Yeah.
should write, because multiple project at the same time.
Yeah. So my simple submission is you pick up one major project and then write the story. Okay, you don't need to mention all the projects. Especially you people will be doing a lot of capital intensive projects that will go on for 1-2 years. Okay, so pick up one project, or sometimes what will happen is, let's say you go for an expansion program. Okay, write that as a project, bring all the parallel project under that project. Okay, because they are all part of that major project. So see, PMI says don't combine. They say that not to combine the dissimilar projects. Okay, so here they are all aligned towards a common outcome, common goal. So you can treat it as a one major project and then you can write it. So either you combine it and write it as a major project, or pick up one big project that you have done for the entire span and then write it. Rest of the project you can leave it. You don't need to bring it into the attention of PMI.
Hello. We have, sir, just for more clarity, I have spent my 16 years of career in this project function. So we have to write my experience in the projects for the entire, or just the required timeline we have to justify. So 2-3 projects of 36 months. That is the enough latest 36 months major projects we can explain it and
Exactly.
close the.
Exactly. Okay. Now those 2-3 projects combined, it will come to 36. Not necessarily each project 36. Suppose if you have done one major project for 36 months, one project is good enough. Okay. If it is for 12 months, maybe 3 projects. That's it.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Srinivas sir, Suresh.
Yeah.
Hello.
Please.
Sir, my present project I am working for is it is around 18 months, and the previous project is I worked for 4 years.
Okay.
So shall I mention directly the previous project, or shall I, as Prashant said, shall I divide it for first project and second project?
Okay. So the choice is yours, because if you are the big project, 4-year project, if you have done a good role in terms of all the 5 domains, that one project is good enough. Suppose in the first project you are relatively junior, you have done only significantly in terms of let's say execution control. Okay, in the second project you have become a senior, and then you are participating in the initial charter development, and then played a significant role in leading the planning. If that is the case, you write 2 years for the old project and 1.5 years in the new project. So the choice is completely yours. Based on the role and the comprehensive nature what you have done, you can choose.
Because the previous project I have performed with all the roles, and we were in agile and all those things, and in the present project my role is bit not that much big, and
yeah, one project is sufficient. You just do the previous project. In fact, people with 15-16 years of experience and all, I suggest you give only the former project, earlier project. The current projects, you keep it for your program degree, program management. So because there you have to give 4 years of project management and 4 years of program management. So now the project's not necessarily the latest, like 2018, 19, 20, not necessary. You can give up to 9 years, okay, from today, backdated. So you can give it somewhere between 2012 to 15 as the experience for PMP, 2000, let's say 18 to 21 or 22, that can be given for PGMP. So this is how you can manage. So PMI is not very specific about the timelines.
And okay. Moreover, so in that case, so here we are, the PMI is asking for the organization. So the organization will be my previous organization, not
yes,
the present.
Yes. Absolutely. Okay, it could. Some people quote 3, 4 organizations because they change job every second year. So organization, they're not really critical about organization. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So let's
Srinivasan,
come. Yeah, please.
sir, only one small question. So actually, it's like I'm working as an like a operational excellence manager in one of the organization. So is like every year I need to change the target. So it is like a x to y this year. So the next year target will be a y to z.
Yes.
So it is like a one single project. I run it in almost 5 years span of time. It is like a customer satisfaction index improvement.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
So this project, it is took me almost, it is a evergreen project. Probably it is a scores has been improved and ranking. The project is a continuous project. So
Yeah,
is it in a like I can show it as in a 3 year span of time. So actually I run that almost 6 years.
I would suggest to split into 2 or 3 projects, wherein each project you give a clear objective. Okay, the objective of this project is to optimize this set of processes in order to reduce the cost, improve the utilization. So like that, each project objective, and also you are giving an outcome. You can say that at the end of the project, we were able to reduce the operational expenses from this much to this much. You give statistics, okay? So the PMI will really appreciate your contribution to the project. So don't show it as a one project, show it as a 2 or 3 projects, okay? But focus on the improvement.
Oh, okay, sir.
Every
Okay,
project
got it. Thank you,
drives a
sir.
change, okay? How from as is to be, okay? What changes you have experienced it through the project, okay?
Sir, we have a couple of questions from in the chat.
Okay.
Ashok Arathi. The process of application submission is valid for present exam format, valid till December 2020. And we need not submit the endorsed experience certificate like before.
Yes. Okay. The application has already come into the effect. So anyone who submits the new application, okay, you don't need to include, give as Prashant explained, the references and other things are not essential. The only change will be after, if you intend to take exam after December, then, okay, the experience summary need to be written in a new format. Okay, currently you can just go ahead and submit in the existing format in terms of the 5 domains. Rati, have I cleared it? Is it clear? I guess.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Clear. Thank you.
Okay. So there is nothing required from your organization perspective in terms of the signature from the sponsor or reporting manager. So those formalities are removed.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. The next question is from Mr. Sachinarayan. So, sir, can we specify the ongoing project experience in the summary?
Yes, you can. Okay. Yes, you can. Only thing is, let's say a project is started 2019 April and it is still going on. So what you need to do is start date or starting month of the project is April 2019. And then you mention something like your recording experience as on, let's say, August 2020.
Okay, sir, so actually there will be a place where there will be a small checkbox there which says that the project is in progress near the finish date of the project. If you select it, finish date will fade off and it will take it till the current month.
Excellent. Thanks, Prashant.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
All right. Okay. Any other question, Prashant?
Ms. Pragna has raised her hand. Pragna, you can unmute yourself and can ask.
Yeah. Hello. So my question, I have 2 questions here. So first question is related to the training. So I have completed the 35 hours of training through LinkedIn program.
Okay.
And I am planning to write the exam before December itself.
Okay.
So how I have to proceed with that, one question. Second, if there is some, is there anything which you can provide from your end, and whether I have to enroll into some kind of program or something like that, something of this sort?
Yeah. I think the answer is when you completed the training through LinkedIn, they would have given you a clear certificate with the from date to date, number of hours you earned. I'm sure they would have followed it. So you
Yes.
can enter those details in the application format. Second thing, in terms of ProVenture services, okay, so since of course you have attended this seminar, so you can submit the application template through the link. We can review it and then give you our feedback so that you can use it for your online application filling. And then the third part is how we can further support you. Okay,
Yes.
so we have a very good e-learning portal with more than 1,000 questions, which are very typical of PMP real-time exam. So with a small fee, okay, you can enroll into that e-learning portal that you can use it for your self-study and validation for the next 3 months. And then you can continue to be part of our certification follow-up sessions, asking questions and all. Okay, over and above, we also will do some kind of refresher programs. Again, it's a small token fee will be charged. So if you wish, optional, if you want to do it, you can be part of it, but we will extend you the application review, and you can talk to Ratna about the e-learning subscription, and then you can take the benefit of it. Okay.
Okay, sure. Yeah,
All
thank
right.
you.
Okay. So
And
let me go on.
one more thing, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, please.
One more thing is, are there any questionnaires available on the site for that practicing material?
It is there. It is there in our e-learning site. Okay. So we have a lot of contextual quizzes, mini mock and full mock. All of them are available, which you can make use of it. Is that okay?
Sir, is this access is available for us? I am Ranjit. As we have taken a course from you, so is this access is available for us? Or
yes,
we have...
it is available for you, Ranjit. We have extended e-learning. If you lost that email or something, please write to us. We will revalidate it and give it to you.
Okay, sir.
All right. Okay. So let me move on. Now, this is primarily for people who will take the exam beyond December. Okay, but still, okay, you may like to see what's new in the new exam pattern. So earlier, you would have seen in the experience summary, 5 domains: initiating, planning, executing, monitoring and control, and closure. Okay. So now from January onwards, PMI is moving into a simplified 3-domain examination content outline, which revolves around these 3: people, process, and business environment. Okay, the people-centric domain will attract 42% of the questions, process-centric domains 50%, and the business environment 8%. Now the process domain will actually further subdivided into the multiple tasks. I will show it to you. So earlier, the whole ECO document, exam content outline document, 100% will revolve around process domain only. Okay, the people-centric, business environment-centric were treated through tools and techniques used in the processes. But now PMI wants to elevate people centricity. Okay, so that is why they separated all those tools and techniques into a separate, carved out a domain called people domain, and then they have given a 42% weightage. And then earlier you would have heard about enterprise environmental factors, organizational process assets, and then governance, business case, all those things were there in the first 3 chapters. Now they want to give weightage to that also, which attracts 8% of the questions in the examination. So overall, this is the 100% going forward from January onwards. Okay, so accordingly, the future PMBOK also will be around this, that we are expecting it sometime in 2021. The 7th edition of PMBOK will come. So till that comes up, Okay, you can say that even within the current 6th edition itself, all these 3 domains are addressed. Only thing is you need to kind of conceptually segregate and then prepare for your examination. Okay, with this, I'll just get into what is there in each of the domain. Very broadly, I'm not going to explain everything because it will take a lot of time. And before that, are there any very, very high level questions before I step into individual domains?
So can we expect any kind of when compared to the upcoming the updated version? So in this, if we are going to appear for the exam in the before December, so from the upcoming new syllabus, can we expect for a transition in the final exam, or will it be purely based on the 6th edition and the current processes?
Okay, good. What we as provinces plan to do is we will start trainings based on the new syllabus from October onwards. Okay, the August and September will be the last 2 batches based on the current syllabus. October onwards, it will be on the new syllabus. People who have taken training in the current syllabus, but not able to take the exam before December. Okay, what we plan in the month of maybe November, December itself, we will start that thing. So we will plan a short refresher program, okay, for them to realign with the new syllabus. And from January onwards, every candidate should formally enroll with PMI, okay, as a participant or as a potential candidate, and then compulsorily they need to take a courseware from PMI, standardized courseware that will cost around $40 US. Okay, so when we enroll you part of that refresher program, we will also enroll you into the new syllabus based training. Okay, so both will be combined and then we will offer that program. So you can take up that refresher program and you can go ahead with the exam beyond January. Okay, so that is what we will do it.
Thank you, sir. My question basically, actually, I'm planning to take the exam before this December only. I've also enrolled myself in the short track course. So, point is, now I just wanted to know because of these new sets, it was a good insight that you have shown. 42% on the people and 50% on the process. So it means that PMI has felt it based on the professional industry that they have taken the feedback, and that's how they are going for this transition, right?
Correct,
so
correct.
This transition, it's not necessarily that exactly from January 1st onwards they are going to implement in the PMP selection process. So gradually they might feel to just introduce some of the questions in this particular methodology to
No. It is a clear cutoff up to, let's say, I think around the 1st of January or 31st of December. Until then, no change will be done to the exam. Okay. If at all they want to test anything, they'll put it in that 25 questions.
Okay, fine, sir. Thank you.
They won't play around with that 175. You don't need to worry about it. Afterwards, out of your own interest, if you want to upgrade yourself to the new syllabus, the same refresher workshop will run for some more time as a PDU program. So you can attend, update yourself and earn PDUs. You don't need to enroll yourself into the PMI offered e-learning program.
Okay? That will be helpful, sir. Thank you.
Sir. Okay. All right. So the new eco document will look like this as a structure. Okay. The 3 domains. Okay. We have seen process, people, and environment. For under each domain, PMI will list down around 8 to 18 tasks. Okay. You will see that later. Okay. The tasks is again the same in the current eco document also. You will have those tasks. Initiation will have 8 tasks. Planning will have 14 tasks, something like that. And then under the tasks, you will find some kind of a bulleted items called enablers. Okay, which knowledge or skill element will enable you to perform the task that will be part of that domain. So you can say, you can visualize it as a small work breakdown structure. Domain, under that multiple tasks, under each task, multiple enablers. Okay, that is how it will look like. I've given you an example. For example, people is a domain. Under that, managing conflict will be a task. Under managing conflict, you will see enablers like interpret the source and stages of conflict, analyze the context for the conflict, evaluate, recommend, reconcile the appropriate conflict resolution method or solution. So these are the enablers. So as an aspiring candidate, you should know how to interpret source of the conflict, how to analyze it, how to evaluate and recommend the solution, and then resolve that particular conflict. So if you are able to perform these enablers, you can manage conflict, and then you will acquire a skill within this people domain. So this is how the whole eco document will be structured. Okay, now based on that eco document, for each task, the PMI will structure the courseware. Accordingly, we will teach you, and also more metadata, examples, explanations will be given in the standardized e-learning content, about which again we will explain you after this module. Okay, so I'll just give you a glimpse of these tasks under each domain. Okay, I'm not going to explain it to you. So if you look at it, the process, okay, there are 17 tasks under the process. Okay, it will go like this. The first, I have not arranged it in the same way in the exam content outline. I slightly modified it so that I put it under clusters. Okay, so the PMI expects you to know what are the different methodologies. Okay, the predictive, okay, adaptive, iterative, hybrid. Okay, so you should know, and then you should be able to know how to establish project governance structure for a project. Okay, and then you should know what is business value and how your project delivers the business value. Okay, based on the customer's requirement and the urgency. And then you will see most of the rest of the task, they will say plan and manage that particular area. Plan and manage communication, plan and engage stakeholders, plan and manage project scope, plan and manage project schedule, then resources, budget, then product and project quality, then assess and manage risks, and then plan and manage procurement, integrate, okay, all the project planning activities and deliverables. And then when it comes to the monitor, manage part, okay, you will see manage the artifact, that talks about configuration management, manage changes, change management, manage issues, issue management, then knowledge management, and then finally plan and manage project and phase closure and transitions. So these are the 17 tasks around process. Okay, now what is the change that you are seeing here? Okay, they don't expect you to mug up, okay, the input, tools, techniques, outputs, okay, how they are connected together. Okay, from that particular ITTO model, they are moving into principle-based project management. So you should know the systems approach in which how you can kind of develop a plan and manage the work. Okay, so more, let's say at a little higher level, and then getting into brick and mortar nitty-gritties, they say that you tailor it, customize it for your project. Okay, we are not going to suggest you, okay, these are the input, these are the tools, techniques, these are the outputs. We just lay down the principle, and then details, you work it out. Okay, so it has certain advantages. Sometimes you can see it also has certain disadvantages with this approach. So we are expecting, okay, the exam, the PMBOK size from the current 650 pages, it is going to come down to maybe 300, 350 pages. Okay, I'm just giving a wild guess. Okay, speculating, it may or may not be true. Okay, I'll move on to second domain, people. So you will see here, this is how the structure is going to be. I think I forgot to put the number of the task. It might be around, again, around 14 to 17 or so. You can count it as I explain it. So you will see here how these are something around leadership. Okay, how will you lead a team, support the team, empower the team, and then train and build their capability, and then manage.
Hello. I think there is a network issue.
Yes, we lost. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
we lost both. Prashant also is not there in call. Just give me a moment, sir. So sir may join again.
You look at it, it is more in terms of the agile oriented. You will see build a team based on the capabilities, remove impediments, negotiate project agreements, collaborate with stakeholders, build shared understanding among the stakeholders. Okay, so this is the next set of tasks. And then last one, engage and support virtual teams. And then define the team ground rules, the charter, etc., team charter, etc., mentor relevant stakeholders, and then promote team performance through application of emotional intelligence. Okay, so these are the 3, 5, 5 plus 5, 10, 10 plus 4, 14, okay, tasks as part of people domain. Okay, so this is a major change. Now, according to me, all these are available in the form of tools and techniques in the current edition of PMBOK. Okay, there is not been given as a separate domain and task status, but they're already available as a tools and techniques, interpersonal, okay, leadership, communication, negotiation, all of them are available. But in the new framework, they are elevating to a equivalent status according to the processes and other things. Okay, that is the only change. And then the last domain, business environment. So you will see here, okay, as a project manager, you have to, okay, plan and manage the compliance, and then you need to do the identify, analyze benefits, and then plan for the business value, and then accommodate and then align with environmental changes. And you also need to prepare and support organizational change as an outcome of the current project. Okay, so these things are given focus. It was hidden before, now they were given a focus. So this is going to be the new structure from January 2021. Okay, any questions around this? Or your views or your opinion, anything is welcome. I just pass for a while. Okay, if there are no questions, okay, then I think we will.
Till December, no questions.
Pardon?
Till December, no questions. Then January, questions will start.
Okay, so one thing from me, you don't need to feel bad that, okay, I am missing these components. No, okay, you're not missing anything. There are questions, okay, even now will be asked from all these 14 tasks. Okay, they'll be asked as part of execution process group, and monitoring and control process group that are available as part of tools and techniques within the current 6th edition. So it is only a change. The second major change will be around 40 to 50% of the questions in the new framework will be based on agile methodologies. Okay, that will be a big change. Okay, so when the new training comes, okay, we will give a lot of exposure related to how do you work within the agile and hybrid methodologies. Okay, that will be a big change. So, which you can take it up later once you become PMP certified.
Sir, Mr. Vijay has asked which one will be better. We can attempt the PMP exam before December or after December.
Okay, my answer will be, if you are already trained, go ahead and take the exam. Don't wait for the new curriculum. And ProVentures will give you a refresher session, okay, which you can claim it as another 8 to 12 PDUs as part of the new program. Or you can even, with $40 enroll to that PMI framework, learn another 40 hours of new curriculum and claim yourself for PDUs. Don't delay your examination because of that. That will be my answer.
Sir, future agile courses will change also if there things are covered in the next curriculum in this PMP only.
I'm not getting it. Are you saying there will be further changes to the courses, or?
There will be further changes in the program portfolio every year?
Oh, that's the question. See, change is part of our life. Okay, so the PMI will constantly upgrade it. But once you are certified, okay, as part of your professional development activities, you can embrace those changes. Okay, there will be, now we are living in a virtual world. Everything is available, open. So we don't need to worry about investing a lot of money in adapting those changes. Okay, you can do that seamlessly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, sir, there is a question from Mr. Vivek. Do we have a pilot project for new exam?
Pilot project for my exam.
New exam.
But there is no pilot. Yeah. Okay. The pilot is already completed. Okay. So I think somewhere around April, May, June, PMI ran a pilot in which they gave a fee concession. If someone failed in the exam, they can take a free retake. So that's already done. I don't think PMI will announce any more pilot. Let's see, if the pilot comes up, we will announce you, and then you can participate, but don't delay your exam for waiting for the pilot. Okay, any other questions?
Sir, in 6th edition, even Agile is also included, right?
Yes, that is why I'm saying you will not lose anything. But in terms of the question pattern, not too many questions related to Agile are there in the exam. Okay, I'm just giving a high level information. Okay, but going forward, if there are 200 questions you need to answer, 100 of them will be on Agile. Okay, currently it could be about 10 or 15 or 20, not more than that. But going forward in the new syllabus, 50% of the questions will be from Agile methodologies.
Do you have any program related to, before going to the exam, just a mock test so that we can feel it whether we are ready or not?
Yes. Okay. PMI is, earlier PMI don't do that, but now they have a plan to give about 200 questions, I guess, as a mock. Okay. We are not sure whether it will be open to the students. For at least for educators like us, they will give us a set of sample questions, and we intend to develop in similar lines more questions. So you can expect ProVentures to offer at least 2 full mock exams based on the new syllabus. Okay, which we
I'm asking for existing one. So if I want to go in a
You want to attempt now itself?
within.
Can you repeat?
I think he's asking for the current format.
Yeah, before 31st, it is already available, Ranjit. So you can take it from our e-learning.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, but the PMI don't publish any questions right now. And we have mock exams enough, okay, for you to attempt.
Okay, sir.
All right. Okay. I will pass it on to Prashant to take a quick overview in terms of how you can, in the new ATP format, how the students can enroll. So you do that, Prashant. Go ahead. Shall I remove my share?
No, sir, I'm already sharing.
Okay. All right.
All right. So coming to the new training requirements in order to go for the PMP exam after Jan 2021. So Jan 1st onwards, this new examination will be in place. So whoever is taking from 2nd Jan onwards will be able to, should be taking the exam in the new, following the new content outline. So in order to become eligible for going and taking the exam in the new examination format, the first and foremost thing that we need to understand is now PMI is launching a new program called Authorized Training Providers. So earlier, all of us used to be called as registered education providers. So now they changed the name and then they're calling it as Authorized Training Providers. So all the participants who are going for the examination, whoever is applying for PMP and taking the exam starting from 2nd of Jan onwards, should be trained under an authorized training provider. The 35 contact hours, whatever you receive after completing this training, so that should be from the authorized training provider. And these authorized training providers in turn will nominate trainers inside their organization to PMI, and PMI will organize a training for the trainers, the train the trainer program, and after which they will be giving us an assessment. And all the trainers who are delivering PMP trainings from authorized training providers should be certified by PMI in order to become eligible to give the PMP training. So if you see on the screen, the second point, what we are referring to. So all the trainers who deliver PMP trainings should be certified by PMI in order to give the training. So you should be trained by the trainers who are certified. So the third thing is the PMI has created a courseware, a course structure, and they'll be providing it to the authorized training providers, and using which we will build additional reference material that you'll be requiring for your preparation. So when we'll be providing that additional training material, and the same material will be provided to you by PMI for your preparation for PMP exam. So the course material, whatever you'll be receiving, will be receiving from PMI directly. And in order to be eligible to receive that material from PMI, so all the applicants should be enrolled to PMI, and you have to be enrolled through an ATP, through an authorized training provider. So we will be going and enrolling you into a PMI portal. The PMI portal's name is called PMI Choice. So in order to complete the enrolling process, we'll have to pay $39 as the enrollment fee to PMI. And once through an ATP you are enrolled into the PMI Choice, you'll be able to go and access all the material that PMI provides for us, the preparation material, there are few videos and all stuff. So a quick glance of how that PMI Choice, after you log into the PMI Choice using your PMI credentials. So this is how the landing page is going to be. So you can see the student manual over there and a post-class survey. So you can submit feedback to PMI after the class is done. So PMI provides you with some spotlight videos, and there are few checklists which you can download and use it when you're doing your regular projects in your organizations. So the course files these files along with what PMI provides and what we add as reference material to what PMI provides. So all those things will be created and stored inside this locker. So they call this as a locker where it is digitized and it is protected. So nobody else will be able to access the information that you have stored inside that locker. So all your data will be saved. And finally, you have a self-assessment, self-knowledge check, a quick assessment of how much we have learned and where we are standing after the training. So these are the different modules that are there as a part of PMI Choice. So once you register for the new training or the refresher what PSR has said, so we will complete the enrollment process for you and you'll be able to access this choice platform where all the resources for your preparation and examination will be present. So, so this is going to be a mandatory practice for all the applicants who are planning to take exam after Jan 2nd. Okay, so recently, a couple of weeks back, we have received the authorization from PMI to be an authorized training provider. And now Preventus is an authorized training provider, and we are going to launch our new programs very shortly, which Ratna will take us through.
All right. Thank you, Prashant.
Okay.
So I will. So this is going to be about the workshop schedule. Based on
Ratna,
yes,
1 minute. I guess a couple of them have some questions. Ranjit or Vivek, do you have any questions?
I think Ranjit said that it's a voice break, so
Yeah.
I lost my voice sometimes. So
Okay.
Okay, now it's now okay, no problem.
All right. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. So shall we proceed further?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
great. Ratna, over to you.
Thank you, sir. Yeah. So this is a complete roadmap, a PMP certification journey based on the new syllabus, the new examination content outline, what we discussed so long. So first it is going to be a registration with us, Proventus. Then we need to register the participant with PMI. So for accessing the material, what Prashant just explained, the PMI choice, then we will submit the payment and download the material. So we will make the payment to PMI and download the material for you. Then you complete the 4 week of training with us. Then going forward, you fill up the application and submit for review with us. Then we will review the application and we'll give you the final input. Then you go ahead and submit the application in the PMI portal. So once you receive the approval from PMI, you pay the examination fee. Then you need to completely prepare for the exams. And in between, we conduct the sync up session with the trainer. So if you have any further doubts with the in terms of your preparation, any topics or something, then you go ahead and book your slot with Pearson VUE, then you get certified. So this is going to be the entire roadmap with the new application, a new examination content. So in the old, the current syllabus, what we are doing, the registration with PMI or downloading the course material is not there. So it is with the PMBOK and the material what we provide participants prepare. But this is going to be the new model starting from January 2021.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
say one small addition to what she said. When we register your name with PMI, with the trainer, and you will also get a student's login. So you have what Prashant showed. You will have access to PMI choice. So you can download those presentations, some of the templates, checklist, all of them from PMI portal for your own learning, as well as you can do a online learning, submit online feedback, all those things you will have it, and that will be given to you, I think, for 1 year access, correct? That's not any idea?
yes, sir. Yeah.
So they'll give you 1 year access to that e-learning portal. So we are expecting that the content that PMI provides as a course material will be a full-fledged content, okay, except for some additional extended references that might be sufficient for preparing for your PMP examination. Plus, of course, Provenchers will give you a lot of mock exams and other stuff through our portal. Yeah. So any questions, Suresh, from this roadmap?
No, it was network breakdown for me.
Okay. This is the roadmap, sir, based for the new examination content outline commencing from January 2021. So that is the first step is the participant register with the Proventures, and then we register the participant with the PMI for downloading the course material for them. Once we register the participant with the PMI, they receive the logins to download the course material. So that is the PMI choice, what Prashant just explained to us in the earlier slide. Then with those material, we do the 4 weeks of training. So once the training is over, with the PDU certificate, what we provide, so you go ahead and fill up the application form. So for which we will give you the link. So once the application is filled in, you submit to us, we will review and we will give you our feedback in terms of any specification or anything to be changed. Otherwise, you can go ahead and submit the same with PMI portal. So once you submit the application with PMI portal, you will, after their examination, you will receive approval from their end so that you can go ahead and book the examination fee. Once the examination fee is paid, during which you will prepare full-fledged for the exam. And in between, we will conduct the CFS session, that is a sync-up session with the trainers in terms of like clarifying your doubts or something, if you come across any difficulty in terms of your preparation. So then you book your slot with the Pearson VUE, which is the examination authority for conducting PMP examination. And finally, you get certified. So this is going to be the journey for PMP certification commencing starting from January 2021. Is it clear, sir?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead, Ratna.
Okay, so this is the first workshop. We will be launching it on October 2020. So starting from 2nd October to 31st October for the new syllabus. So these are going to be the dates and these are the timings, and the fee would be 17,500 plus tax. It's that is inclusive of the course material what we will pay to PMI. So this is the first that 4 weeks workshop schedule, and after that we have examination coaching sessions to prepare you further for the examination, a kind of coaching, intense training, we would say. So that we do it only on Saturdays towards 4 sessions. So it will cover in a month. So that will give you that will equip you completely to take up the exams and clear it. So going forward after the training, you can go ahead and fix the examination date and clear it.
And this is optional. This is optional.
This is optional. Yeah.
Okay, so after the mandatory training, you can just go ahead and do your own self-preparation. If you want Proventures to conduct some mock and then discuss the questions and then monitor your progress. Okay, so we would like to do that going forward so that you can take it as a 3 months program, and then you can fairly be confident to take the exam and then pass it. So we are thinking we'll launch this exam coaching session for 2 to 3 months. Okay, so this is the current proposal. Based on the feedback and the response, we can fine tune it going forward.
So this is the transition plan for the applicants who have trained in the current syllabus. So a formal induction to be done, because these people, all the participants who have trained in the current one may not have to have the access to PMI choice. That is the new examination content outline course material. So we will we will give a formal induction for the course material. Then a refresher program will be done. The schedule will be announced later, and the price also will be announced. So with that, you will have an orientation and you will have the access to the courseware and reference material. And from our side, we will also give you the mock examination through ProVentures portal. So with all this, though you have trained in the current syllabus, you will be ready to take up examination in the new content outline. So this is the transition plan for the participants who have taken the training in the current 6th edition syllabus. Yeah, the current one till December 2020. So that is all from our end. So we can take up questions if anybody have any further questions on this.
Srinivas sir, one question.
Yes.
This is Panindra. Is this new changes applicable for the CAPM as well?
I think PMI has not come up with any explicit guidelines for CAPM. What we are expecting is, I'm sorry, I think I'm not able to give a clear comments. Prashant, you have any idea?
Yes, sir. So the application format, whatever we have discussed in the first part of our webinar, that part has been changed for all certifications. Okay. So when it comes to registering with PMI Choice, using PMI courseware, and paying that $39 for PMI in order to access that PMI Choice is not applicable for all certifications. It's only for PMP and Disciplined Agile. So all other certifications are going to be the same, which are going to continue in the same old way.
So
but they will change at some point of time. Okay,
yeah.
Not immediately. Yeah.
So what about the syllabus? I mean, because the domains are changing from 5 to 3 in the PMP.
Yeah. Yeah. Just to give you an answer, CAPM will be strictly based on the PMBOK. Okay, there is no content outline document for CAPM. So because of that, it's my probably assumption is once the PMBOK 7th edition is published, then they will change the CAPM format. Till then, this will remain same as per the 6th edition.
Okay, sir. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, any further questions? I request all the participants to give your feedback in the link I have given in the chat. So this will help us to improvise in the future webinars, which we do it continuously every fortnight. So please give your feedback in the link. And meanwhile, if you have any questions, you can give in chat or you can unmute and speak to the speakers directly. Any further questions regarding the exams outline?
Hello, sir. This is Vivek on the phone.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Yes, Vivek.
I have recently given my CAPM exam and have successfully passed. And like I currently work as an associate project manager. Like it's been like 20 days. So like I just wanted to understand when would be an ideal time for me to give a PMP. Like let me gain some experience and then give it, or like you want me to have it like within a year or so.
What's your overall experience now, Vivek?
It's 3 years, sir.
3 years, sir. Okay. If you complete the 36 calendar months of experience, my suggestion would be probably next year middle, 2021 middle, you can upgrade yourself to PMP. So that is your choice. Okay, because CAPM validity is 5 years. So between these 5 years, anytime you can do. But when you feel yourself satisfied with the 36 calendar months of experience in terms of leading and directing project activities, when you feel that you are eligible, I guess you can go ahead and upgrade yourself.
All right. And one more question I have is like, I have been part of ProVentures alumni, and can I upload the same certificate which is given for CAPM as a contact hours for PMI maybe for the next year?
You can do that, but as Ratna explained, going forward, every candidate should enroll themselves as part of PMI choice, get trained through the new curriculum. Okay, so whether you can do, we can enroll it as part of the new curriculum, whether the 35 contact hours, okay, can be combined with the past training as well as the future training. We will get a clarity more, but definitely you have to go through a refresher training.
All right, perfect. Thanks, sir.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Vivek. Any further questions from anyone?
Sir, for the current exam, if you want some support and some help, so how we should contact? Is it directly we should contact you people, or there is some methodology?
No, we conduct every fortnight one certification follow-up session. Okay, so we send a communication. Maybe if you just formally write to her, she will make sure that you are included in the distribution list. So that is where you can bring your doubts and then we can answer. And if you are not enrolled into the e-learning, you can request for it, we'll enroll it since you have attended our training before. But if you are not in touch with the subject, if you need some focused support, we run a Sure Track program, okay, which we have just started a couple of days before. So which will actually go through a weekly 2-hour session, okay, and along with a mock exam, and this we call it as a Sure Track because anyone who follow this session, they complete the exam successfully. So if you want that kind of coaching, you can enroll. Otherwise, you can attend those certification follow-up sessions and do rest of the preparation by yourself. Okay, so we can help you. Yeah.
For this, we have to talk to Madam Ratna.
Yes.
Yes, sir. I'll be in touch with you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Since it's a 12-week program, we just done only one introduction class. So still you can enroll it and then you can continue, or any other method you want, you can talk to her and then she will help you.
Sure, sir.
Okay.
So I request once again all the participants to give feedback about the session. So meanwhile, we'll take any further questions from participants. Any further questions from anyone?
So if there are no further questions and if you have completed the feedback form, and we just want to thank you for taking your time on a Sunday to do this. And so maybe, yeah, you can get dropped out. Okay, so thank you so much from ProVentures team.
Thank you all. Thank you for joining the session. So we'll communicate to you further about the upcoming webinars.
Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ashok.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Vivek.
Thank you.
Sir,